Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the art house. We got the old siren for old time's sake. It's been a while since Fire Marshal Mike has been back. So who do... Kids are loose, man. The kids are loose. I'm gonna have to regulate. Guys, do not come in here. Regulated. It's never smooth. I thought I was fully prepared. I did. Look at this. Look at the upgrade here. I elevated this about 6 inches. So we only have minor interference. Huge upgrade. Big. Real big. All right, we got Vaults of Zul as the first guy in the house. Sophie, Dan Mitchum. How's the audio? We good? Miltu Med. What's up, man? You see the frames? He sees the frames. Nathan Martinez. I hope everyone has the best day ever. Solid. Good message. I like that. And Cosmic Seeds. Definitely upgraded, he says. All right, guys. My left eye is not upgraded. I don't know. It's getting a little red. I'm on borrowed time, I think. It's been the case for 3 years. Maybe 4. Going on 4, I think. All right, so we got a lot to cover. It's, what time is it? It's 12:01. I was almost right on time. In the first hour. Actually, you know what? I posted an agenda somewhere. I think it was on Facebook. Let's have a look at that. Just to refresh myself and everybody else. Let's go to the sorcery. Oh, wait, what's this? It's a post? Oh, okay. All right. I got distracted. I apologize. I saw a post from Margaret Organ Keene, who will be coming to Sorcery Con. Big one. Big one. Margaret's awesome. All right, guys. So in the Sorcery Community Facebook group, where's my agenda here? Sophie's running a nice poll about doing an event in a castle, which sounds epic. I think it's priceless. Don't be shy about $100 plus. We can handle it. Just sell a couple cards. No big deal. All right, guys. Is this the agenda? Here it is. All right, so we're going to talk about the Spear of Destiny. In hour 1, this is going to be 2 hours tops. Probably not more than 2 to spare myself a beating. 12-1. Spear of Destiny history. So I have the original sketches over here. We got the original painting back there. Back there. And an Atlas Thorn altar reveal of the Spear of Destiny, which will go live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. The Alpha original painting is a different Alpha original painting. That is going to go live next Sunday. So in a week, next Sunday night, there's going to be a big Alpha original painting offer. So I'm going to show you guys that one. And then at around 1 o'clock, Heidi Taillefer, the newest artist announced for Sorcery through Heidi's reveal, or through Sophie and Jen's reveal of Heidi's card, Sir Tristan, earlier this week. We're going to meet Heidi, and we're going to hear about... I actually did some research about... I don't know if she knows how she was discovered from Sorcery. I'm going to ask her. But I did, I always do my homework and research on the history of Sorcery. And I remembered kind of from memory, and then I went and validated it. So I'll share that with you guys later in the 1 o'clock hour. But here we go. So the Spear of Destiny, guys, we're going to start at the collectorarthouse.com website. This is the first thing I ever created in the very early days when I was into Sorcery pre-Kickstarter. Probably, was it a whole full year before Kickstarter? Like very soon after the official Discord opened, I joined the Discord. There's very few of us in there. Maybe, I don't know, less than 50 people. It was tiny. So the early adopters were in the Discord. Eric was very active. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of engagement with him, getting insight into his creative process. He didn't really have any employees at all. It was like just him and Nick Reynolds, the co-creator. We don't hear a lot from Nick Reynolds anymore, so I'm not sure what he's up to. He was more on the game design end of things, and he designed the grid-based concept for the game. But Eric, being the creative engine, he was creative director at Grinding Gear Games, and is obviously the creator and co-creator and creative director, essentially, of Sorcery Contested Realm. So with my interest in the art aspects and collectability and things, and not having as much time to play, given my family situation and multiple jobs and whatnot, I really took a liking to the art aspect of things and had a lot of fun dialogue with Eric in the Discords in the early days. So I created this website because I wanted to start meeting the artist and introducing for one, like meeting the artist personally myself, but also introducing fans to the artist. So, you know, on the website, we did all this great stuff with artist bios. You go get a little background bio on each of the artists, and I did tons of interviews with all the artists, right? So there's this interviews and articles page. But we're talking about the Spirit of Destiny, right? So the other aspect beyond the interviews is I did a lot of outreach with a lot of the sorcery artists for some of our favorite cards. And on this page at collectorarthouse.com/sorcerybehindtheart, you can find all the links to all my social medias in the link tree thing in the description of the video. So again, please like the video. I always forget to say this. Like the video until the very end, like when no one's watching. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, please. I have like over 4,000 people in the Facebook group and only 1,600, some rookie numbers on the YouTube channel. So please, please help me out if you aren't subscribed already. And liking it helps, and leaving a comment even, you know. No one likes to leave comments. Maybe I should ask a question, you know. That's a technique people use. What's your favorite Arthurian Legends reveal so far? There you go. Put it in the comments. Go ahead and pop it in there. So anyway, behind the art, right? So I selected a lot of interesting cards. Cards that like were powerful in the early development of the game, the early meta, or just felt like really interesting and iconic. You know, like we knew about the Holy Grail for over 2 years now. It's been out there for ages. This playtest image of the Holy Grail that you see here, right? So I reached out to Tony Sudlow and I was like, dude, tell me about the Holy Grail. What's going on here? And then under the text box, there's this, he always has these Easter eggs like throughout his artwork. He's big on that. He really wants people to discover his art and find nuances with it and really look closely and enjoy and appreciate the art. So you got King of the Realm, but I want to skip ahead. I get too distracted. I got to be efficient with time because we got to get through all this stuff and then we got to do the sample break in the first hour. I'm trying to get through all of that before Heidi comes on and then focus the back end of this event with Heidi, the spotlight entirely on her. So the Spirit of Destiny, as you guys know, Andrea Modesti is one of my favorite artists. I think of all, I do have a very nice painting collection from Sorcery Contested Realm that I've acquired over time. You know, the Gadu Chimera right there. That's the original painting. The Kythera mechanism, once known as Predestination. And right there, the Humble Village. Beautiful. And there's some plastic on the fringe, right, guys? Don't be alarmed. It's recently back from the framer, and I have other stuff that the guy is framing. And, you know, just kind of paintings all over the place. So I really need to architect these walls very strategically and make sure it displays properly. So I'm kind of, you know, stuck between a rock and a hard place where I really can't display until I have my full collection framed up and I could really map out these walls and figure out how I want to showcase all the art. All right, so the Spirit of Destiny is providing early on to be one of the most coveted cards in the game. So we did a sample card auction of this. It's one of the great first early successes of sample cards. The card sold for over $2,000, which is very substantial in the pre-alpha era. You know, it kind of paved the way to a lot of the early value. And people say that's great. It's been helpful for the game. Other people think I'm a scumbag and ruin everything. It's not organic, right? It's not organic if people love the product and want to spend a lot of money on it. It's not organic. It's a death blow to the game, according to some. But there was a lot of demand, right? So we ran some auctions and there was a lot of interest in Spirit of Destiny. So it had kind of this mystique about it. And the artwork just looked really iconic and epic. So I wanted to showcase this and reach out to Andrea Modesti. So I did this. As I say in the writing here, I wrote this in early July 2022. Let's see. Let me just skim here, kind of give you the highlights. I don't want to read the whole article to you. You guys can go read it afterwards. There is strong reason to believe that there's less than 10 copies of the sample card. We're going to find out more. Like Eric Meyer in the chat here is the guru of sample card pop size. So he's mapping all the discoveries. He's got a spreadsheet here. You can go to Collector's Corner and go to the sample card gallery. And at the top of that page, there's a link to a Google shared doc that Excel spreadsheet basically that Eric is keeping as we discover all these sample cards, right? And I've opened, actually this is the 25th break on the channel, but I've opened a few packs beyond that on the channel, and there was only 244 across the Kickstarter pledge tiers, and he's reached out to folks that have shared them through, he's documented what he's seen in YouTube videos, and there's people like buying, selling, and trading across the platforms to record it all. So the pop size, that still holds true. It's less than 10, you know, of the Spirit of Destiny. Eric could probably look it up and give you the number in chat, but the unique rarity sample cards are extremely, extremely rare. So are the elites and the exceptionals. So I talk a little bit about the Typeline text, a unique relic guided by divine providence. So let me see. How do I want to decompose this history? Let's start with, let me see. I probably covered it here. Man, I wrote this 2 years ago, so it's been a long time. The illustration work by Andrea Modesti is beautifully fitting for the card mechanic. The spear's design resembles that of an ancient era weapon, perfectly pairing with the Typeline text origins in late Middle English and Old French or Latin parlance. So Mr. Modesti shared some insights in blue text here. This is what Andrea had to say. Let me blow that up so you guys can see it, right? So he says, at first, I was not very sure how to set the spear. I had doubts both about its position in the painting and whether it should be depicted as a new weapon, modern, right? In current use or an ancient object. This is where Eric helped me, telling me it had to be an ancient object, a relic from a legendary past. With this and other useful tips, the painting took shape. And also for the suggestion to finally add some sort of halo, brightness, or light rays around the spear, I have to thank Eric. All right? So an ancient relic, right? He didn't know if it should be more of a modern type perspective or an ancient relic. So I guess he hadn't yet researched the history of what the Spear of Destiny actually is. It's also known as the Holy Lance. And as legend has it, there was, after Jesus was crucified and killed, he was stuck with a spear. And from his body poured out both blood and water. And there's some symbology there. People say the water had an essence of cleansing dynamic to it. And as legend has it, there's different versions of the story, right? So some say the person that stuck him with the spear to see if he was really dead, the blood spurted in his eyes and cured his blindness. So he was blind and he was cured by Jesus' blood. And his blindness was cured. So it's got this legendary mystique to it. And you know what? I did, so now let me hold off. Let me think about what did I have. I write myself notes. I send notes to myself here, guys. Let me open this up. Let me see okay, so one's for later. So here, okay, so let me tell you guys about the preparatory sketches here. So let me just zoom. All right, so I'm going to go to the real thing. I have the preparatory sketches that Andrea did. For some of the paintings that I acquired, I wanted to reach out to the artists and see if I could also acquire any kind of concept sketches or work in progress sketches that they had done, right? I thought that'd be really fascinating. So I did so with Andrea Modesti. And I have some images here. But what I'm going to do is take down this page, all right? And then we're going to go to the overhead cam. And let me pull it out of the bag. Excuse the noise and the ruffling. I got this in a bag, and I want to have a white background, and you'll see why that is in a moment. All right, so yeah, so the Spear of Destiny has this rich history. All right, we're going to find out if this new mounting... Let me just test a card. Got a Spellcraft card here, and you guys can read it, right? It's not inverted, the text. Yeah, it looks like it's okay. I know it's small, but all right, so that's going to be fine. That's going to work for us. And I'm going to zoom back out and get rid of my goofy face here. All right, so we got that. We got the X tool up there, not inverted. All right, thanks, man. All right, so look at these sketches. So as Andrea describes, what he does, this is part of his artistic process for his pieces in Sorcery Contested Realm and in general, right? So he talked about, I just read to you guys a passage and an anecdote directly from Andrea Modesti when I asked him about the development of the Spear of Destiny concept, right? And he talks about how he wasn't sure if Eric wanted more of a modern look or an ancient historic look. So clearly, Eric was playing on the history of the Spear of Destiny or the Holy Lance, and he told him it should be an ancient type of tool, right? And as legend has it, there's different stories and different versions of the spear. And there's stories about how it was used in battle, and it would give people immunity or just kind of like enhanced power, in battle, and it was used to kill a lot of people. And there's people obsessed with it, like Napoleon, Hitler thought it would give him impunity or immunity, in his quest to freaking wreak havoc on the world, right? So there's some art history and some like religious anecdotal history, right, of the crucifixion of Jesus and whatnot. So you see some of the early aspects of the spear. Now take a look at this, guys. So this is actually done not on regular art paper, but on trace paper. So what he described to me is that he does like certain aspects of the spear as he was fleshing out the concept and trying to work out the details and the aspects of it, even the orientation, but some of the details of the spear itself and the spear tip. There's some anecdotes about how there was like a nail in the spear, and it may have been modified in medieval times as kind of with counterfeits and fakes that people used. You know, it's on display at various places throughout the world, different countries, right? There's 4 of them accounted for, and each is not able to be scientifically proven as authentic. So a lot of it is just kind of lore and legend and history, and we don't know what's real or if it was really some believe maybe it did exist but it was destroyed in battle or lost, and then people kind of recreated it. And those new recreations are from medieval times, you know, so they're antiques or ancient historical relics in their own right, even if they're fabricated or counterfeits, or, you know, they took on a new life of their own in their own history. So regardless, it's very fascinating. And you have here the spear, right? And I'm going to show you guys as they overlay. So I have several copies here. He sent me this whole set as he fleshed out the design, and we'll see how they overlay piece by piece as I pull each one away, right? So you see the spear. He traces it out. He said he looks at it on the reverse side as kind of like a trick to work out the detail before he overlays it on his canvas or on his art paper to transfer kind of the structure and then work out the painting and the background detail. So as I pull each one away, you see this is a double spear type concept as he's working with different shape and shading and structure, even of the shaft of the spear. So here you go, the next one. And they're not in any numbered sequence, but you can kind of tell as I pull them away, right? It overlays perfectly, and you have kind of like the stencil outline and then some of the shading detail as he worked out some of those aspects. I brought these to the Baltimore Sorcery Spring social event, and I'm happy to bring the relics like this to events like that in the future and share with anyone that's able to attend. Vegas is a little difficult because I got to fly by plane. There's only so much stuff I can transport. But there you have it. Interesting history of the Spear of Destiny. And the reason I bring that up today is because our buddy Atlas Thorn, the prodigy Atlas Thorn, one of the greatest altarists I have ever had the great fortune to lay these old eyes on his work, decided to do a take of his own on the Spear of Destiny. Let me get this in here carefully, guys. Got wild hyenas running around the house. Gotta bag this baby up. Oh! Oh! Alright, I got it under control. The paper sticks. It's a delicate process. It's the stickiness of the bag. Alright, we're good. So guys, Atlas Thorn, as I was saying, he is really... I marvel at everything he does, and somehow it only gets better and better. It's really incredible what he's able to do with a brush and only 4 colors. You know, if you guys remember when I interviewed Atlas, he talks about how he only uses 8 different colors, and he's just a master of blending. But what makes Atlas special beyond that is that all right, so his concepts are absolutely masterful. We just talked about the real life lore of the Spear of Destiny, and I think it's symbolically significant in a way that he did not just do a new take on the spear as a tool or a weapon itself, but he completely reimagined and transformed the meaning of it into a concept entirely its own. Just like, as I described, there are other versions of the spear that were created in time that took on its own history, its own life, its own story. That is how I feel about the way that the creative imagination and ingenuity of Atlas and these concepts he comes up with. They're always like very, I don't know, it's just like kind of heartwarming and feels personal. And maybe it's just my preference or something, but I'm always drawn to his art and think it feels special and different and tells a story. His storytelling is incredible, and just the quality of it, the vibe of it, it just transposes you into that place and makes you feel like you're really experiencing the art, right? So this is his sketch concept. You know, after the first batch, he decided to offer a sketch with his altar concepts, right? So you have this beautiful warrior, right? So it's not like what you'd expect, you know? It doesn't relate to history, but she's holding the spear. And the spear is, the shape of it is still fairly comparable, but even that is slightly altered or different, you know? Takes on new meaning, new shape, the essence of it, right? So you have the spear, and then wait till you see this freaking altar card. He takes it to a whole new level. Look at the sketch. It's simple, right? It seems simple, right? It's beautiful. It's detailed. But it's just a woman holding a spear. A woman warrior holding a spear on a rock. But when he fills in the detail, this is where the storytelling comes and the real, like, the passion, the feel of it that transforms you to a whole different place. And when you look at the detail, you're really going to notice the stark difference in the great quality of his work. So look how incredible. All of a sudden, it's not what you'd expect, right? She's not standing on a rock at the edge of a cliff. She's in the middle of chaotic seas, stormy seas, right? And she's the perspective of her head in the clouds, soaring tall, right? Gives it a whole new vibe. It just feels powerful. You know, she feels powerful because of how large she is in the context of the landscape, and the spear beaming up into the heavens. And just like the art concept, I don't know if he read my article, if he knew anything about this, or just kind of perceived it in his own interpretation of the art by Andrea Modesti, but you have a radiant spear, just like in a Spear of Destiny. The spear itself is kind of simple. It's a simple structure, you know, but I remember talking to Severin Pignou, who of course is one of the great artists of Sorcery Contested Realm, has so many iconic pieces, is a master of landscape. She was like really impressed with the Spear of Destiny. And she even said, like, I can't do anything like that. She's like, I love Andrea's stuff. I can't paint like him. So every artist is uniquely, stylistically different, right? And they do what they do masterfully well, top of their craft, right? But each does their own thing. It's different. They don't do what other artists do. They do their own thing. Alice does his own thing, but he leveraged this concept of the radiant spear, and masterfully so, somewhat similar to Andrea's, you know, background, which really accents the spear, but it has this radiant light beams that not only extend from the spear, but illuminate the clouds and kind of the aura and the perspective of the woman holding the spear herself, right? So it really brings her to life and really, you know, accents and highlights her majesty and just the essence of her being a powerful warrior, yielding a powerful weapon, you know, and being able to control that spear. So a radiant goddess, Sophie says. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Absolutely incredible. So the guy's a master. I mean, everything that Alice does is just truly stunning. And I'm just amazed at how it goes from this idea, and then somehow in his mind, he pulls off this. It's just awesome. And I hope people play with these cards. I know a lot of collectors buy these, and they tend to have a lot of value, but I would love to see someone show up at Sorcery Con. Spiel Essen's going to be an amazing event. You know, Sophie's Castle party. I don't know. She's gearing up for some kind of castle thing. I don't know. I'm probably making it too official. She's in poll mode and planning stages. But dude, come to the castle with the spear, right? Or like these amazing iconic altars, whatever. Really heighten the experience and bring that into play. All right, so there you have the Atlas reveal. Always fun to do. All right, we're 23 minutes in. All right, I got about 30 minutes to pull off an art reveal and the sample break. So, speaking of Atlas, last week I already shipped it off, I think. Yeah, did I ship that one? I did ship it, right? So I don't have it anymore, but we had a Atlas feature. I often feature his work on Sunday night, do a 24-hour auction Sunday to Monday. So his Spear of Destiny will be coming tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it'll run to Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, in the Sorcery Community Facebook group and the Collector Art House Discord, linked at the Linktree link in the show notes here, right? So the Sleeping Giant, he did the Sleeping... This is a Spellcraft card. So this is an artwork that was not used in Alpha, but it was commissioned by Elvira Polakowska. And he had the Sleeping Giant. Atlas Thorn had the Sleeping Giantess paired with the Quarrelsome Kobolds, right? So just take a look at this artwork, the Sleeping Giant. So there was a Sleeping Giantess that was done by Liz Danforth was the original artist for that. And then Atlas Thorn did a version, a different take on that of a Sleeping Giantess with the Kobolds as a two-piece altar. All right, so we're going to get into this painting here. And what's going to happen is, I did not open this yet, guys. So this is, I know what it is, obviously. I'm teasing it in a specific way for a reason. But you had the Sleeping Giantess and then the Quarrelsome Kobolds by Alan Pollock. And what we're going to have here is next Sunday night, there will be a special auction that will run from Sunday to Monday. So what, a 6-day auction? Always feels long. You know, I do 24 auctions because after 24 it feels long. But for very large, like significant pieces of high value like this, I like to do an extended period. And when I can give you guys notice, you're getting 1 week notice here before this goes live if you want to participate and raise cash to participate and have a chance to claim this one. But it's very rare to get a shot at alpha original paintings at this point. A lot of the artists have sold their original work already. And it's not often that you have the original artist still able to offer the original alpha. Some are being resold. Even those come up far and few between. You know, once they fall into collectors' hands, especially if they pay a significant sum for them, they're not looking to just flip them, right? They enjoy them in their collection, and they don't come to market very often. So once they're gone, there's no guarantee that there's a bug on there, that they'll come back. And it'll be available again. So you got to take your shots. You know, there's many, although I have a wonderful collection that I'm very, very thankful to own and love and enjoy, there are several that I passed on or that I sold for the artist or for a community member, and I'm just kicking myself saying, damn it, should have just bought it myself. So, you know, sometimes you only get one shot. They don't come around a lot. The original paintings are obviously unique one-of-ones, and they're a special piece of sorcery, and there's not a lot of games that do original art. You know, they're all going digital, so to buy an original painting is and to own original painting is something really special, something to enjoy and be proud of. All right, guys, here we go. The Sleeper. All right, so we're getting a taste of history, guys. It's the Sleeper. Okay, all right, so we just learned something. The Sleeper, Sleeping Giant. So it was not the Sleeping Giantess. It was commissioned as the Sleeper, Sleeping Giant, created for Grinding Gear Games, 9/21, by Liz Danforth, 2021, for Sorcery TCG, all rights reserved. So in the early days, guys, this is fascinating, right? In the early days, when Eric was commissioning art for Sorcery Contested Realm, we're talking 2017, 2018 timeframe through 2021 even, there was not Eric's Curiosa. People didn't know about Eric's Curiosa as a corporate entity. They did not know about Sorcery Contested Realm because that wasn't the name of the game. It was called Project Atlas, was like a code name that a lot of artists were using, or maybe the name that Eric was using when he commissioned them. The game, so she knew it was Sorcery CCG, right? But she didn't realize at that point that the company, entity, was Eric's Curiosa. She's calling it Grinding Gear Games. And at that time, Eric was still working for Grinding Gear Games. When Discord still opened up, he was still employed with Grinding Gear Games, the creator of Path of Exile. He was one of the three founding members of that magnificently successful company. And he was still working for them. It was only as he started approaching Kickstarter that really started heating up, and he separated from Grinding Gear Games, and he fully retired, and he fully dedicated to himself to Sorcery Contested Realm. So here we have The Sleeper, or Sleeping Giant, by Liz Danforth. You know, as you guys know, Liz has sold very few of her paintings. She sold she actually had the first painting record sale, and I've since broken that record sale a few times over with sales I've done for artists and through consignments. But at the time, she sold her Court Jester original painting for a 5-figure sum. It was fabulously successful. the person that bought it really wanted to own that painting. And she put it out there for private sale and said, just make me an offer. If I get an offer I can't refuse, I'll take it. So she's sold a few pieces privately, but she's sold very few, and it's very rare that she offers them. She wants to keep this, she wants to keep her paintings, right? Because she sees the great success of Sorcery, and she's kind of just biding her time. You know, she's more accomplished, established in her career. She sells a lot of prints. She sells a lot of things. She doesn't need to sell. But she decided, for whatever reasons, she wants to offer this one. So Dan says, just shut your mouth and show that painting, boy. Shut it. Shut it, Mike. Big talker. All right. He was a lot nicer than that. So here you go. The Sleeper by Liz Danforth. The Sleeping Giant. And it's in an acid-free plastic bag, right? So I don't want to take it out of the bag live on camera. But look at this gorgeous, epic scene. And you know what? I kind of miss this in the painting. I think, is that covered by the text box a little bit? That's pretty interesting. There's a bit of an Easter egg, right? But it's significant to the piece. And this is often a technique that artists use, where they have something of much smaller stature to fully allow you to appreciate the magnitude of this sleeping giant. As if laying across the hills were not enough. You have a couple reference pieces that magnify the size. So you have the human figure, so you get scale relative to a human, and then off in the distance, these deer, right? Off in the distance, and it's beautiful scenic landscape. This is gorgeous. It's about, I think Liz told me it's about 11. It's not marked on the size, but it's about 11 by 14 or so. I'll get the dimensions, but it's a nice large size. You see it relative, conveniently to her Mirror Realm painting. This is a 2-player playmat, and it's almost as large as that in a way. If I take it down to the bottom, it's not quite as large as the 2-player playmat, but this is a good size because it's not, I was telling Liz, I was like, those usually do very well because they're not too big, they're not too small, so they're practical to display, and they still feel substantial. And if you put a mat around this when you frame it, you could make it larger if you choose to, or you could take it right to the edge. A lot of collectors that have a vast collection and several paintings, sometimes they'll frame right to the edge so they could fit several along their wall. And of course, I don't tend to do that. I go with the mats and I go big. So, wall space is going to be a problem. But it's a gorgeous painting. Beautiful detailed landscape that really makes it nice. I had Kyle Calazans on last Sunday. He talked about his spell slinger, where he could have just done a simple avatar highlighting the spell slinger, but he did this magnificent, robust, super detailed background. And so did Liz here. It's really beautiful and elegant. And part of the reason, really one of the primary reasons why we're going to wait a week is, one, so people can raise cash if you choose to, if you want to participate in this auction. But also, she is going to put out a Patreon post. It's really going to talk about the concept of this piece, how she came up with the idea, the art direction. Like I showed you for the Spear of Destiny earlier, where I talked about the history of the spear, and I worked with the artist to tell the behind the art story. Liz is going to do that through her Patreon, and that'll be very interesting to learn more about this piece and give you some time to think about it if you might be interested. But there you have it, guys. The gorgeous Sleeping Giantess, as it came to be known in the alpha debut. The Sleeping Giant, created for Grinding Gear Games. Interesting piece of history. September 2021. A lot of artists thought they were commissioning for Grinding Gear Games, before Eric's Curiosa became a prominent thing. Eric's Curiosa being the creator of Sorcery Contested Realm, the parent company, right? Okay, so what we're going to do next is, let me see. So people, it looks like the reaction is pretty strong on that one. People seem to like it. I can't wait to see Kaio's stream. Oh, the stream painting, yeah. So Mil2 Med won that auction. He's going to be seeing the original soon. Oh, okay. Oh, you guys didn't know that Eric was one of the co-founders of Grinding Gear Games? Yeah, man. That's why he's so successful and established. That's why he had the financial means to commission 400 plus, well over 400 original alpha paintings. That was before Kickstarter. So he put his own money into that before he had any Kickstarter money to recoup his investment on that upfront sunk cost for the painting commission. So, kudos to him. I mean, that's why it's a unicorn project. It's very unique, once in a lifetime. Over 400 original paintings. Can you look how beautiful it is? Over 400. You know, so you got to have, one, the confidence, the self-confidence to know that your project is going to be a success, to recoup that cost, and the financial means to front that money. You know, it's not easy to just get a loan for like a TCG game and spend $500,000 on painting commissions. So it's a unicorn project, and Eric was uniquely positioned to do that, and thank God too, because all this amazing, incredible art. It's a renaissance of art, the project, right? It's a great game, but it's an incredible art project and a very significant one because it's all hand-painted original art. All right, guys. So it's sample pack break time, and we're not even gonna do the Wheel of Dreams today. No wheel, because we have 25 minutes to get through this break before Heidi pops in. Let me see. Oh man, I'm all fired up today. Let me check my Facebook Messenger posts to see if she hit me up about. Oh okay. Oh okay. I got Sublo hitting me up. What is I don't know what he's talking about, man. He's talking about some random stuff. All right, so I haven't heard from Heidi yet, but we're expecting Heidi to come on here around 1 o'clock. So I have all the participants pre-labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I'm just going to shuffle these up, and I'm going to grab them off the top, and that's how we're going to randomize. You know, this is how you're supposed to shuffle your raw cards. You do some of these, some of those. You know, this is modern times. You don't need to be sleeving and savage knuckling anything anymore. You could do some of the old tricks with the one of these, you know, one of these. Look at that, no big deal. Actually, I don't want to mix them up like that. I want the labels going the same way. You could do one of those. All right, good luck, everybody. We got the grails coming, baby. We got the grails. I feel like I'm on an 8 ball of cocaine right now. I'm all fired up, but I don't do any coke, guys. Never do coke. All right, Sorcery Contested Realm Sample Booster Pack, new SCR-04. There it is, guys. There it is. All right, so we got 15 people. We're going to sleeve these guys up. We're going to randomize, and I'm just going to take them off the top. I already pre-shuffled. Boom, 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 boom. We're going to get into this. And we got Eric Meyer in the Discord, ready with the spreadsheet to give you the facts on pop rates. All right, so I'm going to shimmy these down. We're going to go Axe Tool. Show you guys the process. We try not to mess up the pack too much because we're going to have, you know, some kind of historic display. Guys, I have the most insane historic collection this world has ever seen. I don't have a lot of single cards. Sometimes people are like, hey, you know, like I asked for something, like, you want to do cash and trade or something? And they're like, yeah, what alpha foils do you have? And I was like, almost none. I got almost none of those. Because I go for like the history, the historic stuff, the art. So, you know, it's a little nuanced, and my dream is to have, you know, the most comprehensive, mind-blowing historic collection of Sorcery Contested Realms history, and maybe do like an exhibition, museum-like exhibition of some of that history and tell the stories like I do on the channel here. If you're liking kind of like the vibe of the channel and the historical anecdotes that I'm sharing, you'll find a wealth of live videos, and then from the early days recorded videos where I've shared a lot of this history, and I've showcased so many really interesting historical relics and pieces of the game, right? And I still have all those, of course, and I haven't sold any of it. I just acquire more and more, and it's really special, guys. It's really interesting, and there's even stuff you haven't seen yet. I'm kind of trickling it out. Oh, you know what? You know what? I forgot something here. In the Spear of Destiny showcase, I forgot the original painting of the Spear of Destiny. All right, so here's the spear, and hang on, guys. The Spear of Destiny. Here's the original painting. You know, so we got the original painting, and I talked about framing it to the edge. You can do a matte, or you could frame it to the edge with this wall. And again, ignore the plastic. It's from the framer. It's because I'm not ready to display these, so I'm trying to keep them pristine and not damage the edge of the frame. But I went with this beautiful, simple walnut wood frame, right? Because it kind of accents beautifully the shaft of the spear. And it really just makes the green pop, you know, the natural wood. I'm really happy with the way this came out. And, you know? And so the Atlas Thorn take on the Spear of Destiny. Amazing. It's an amazing combination. Maybe I'll take a picture of those lately. I did say Shaft. You filthy bastard, Dan. You filthy bastard. It's a family show. Say no to Coke. Just be high on life. High on life, baby. We're not going to need that axe tool. No one gets hurt today. We got sleeves. We got 20 minutes. Then we got Heidi. Glorious Sunday afternoon. How could it get better? It can't. It's as good as it gets, guys. The history, the paintings, the Smaple cards. So 244 packs across all of the pledge tiers. The highest end pledge tiers got the sample packs. The 4 Avatar of the Realm backers got 12 packs each. The collector tier got 4 packs each. There are 24 people in the collector tier. And then the first 100 early bird got 1 sample pack. So those are spread wide and far. There aren't a lot of people that have a lot of these. It's really insane that one person named Mike Servati from Collector Art House was able to get 25 of those. It took a lot of work, guys. A lot of searching high and low. I am Lois or Clark. I'm probably more Clark than Lois. I just search high and low, guys. I'm like I'm basically Christopher Columbus, you know? I just sail ashore and I raid your local village for your sample packs. And by the way, if you guys have sample packs, please, I want to buy them from you. I will give you thousands of dollars and I will make your life easy. It'll be a simple, clean, risk-free transaction. And we can do more of these special break events, right? And get into the history of sorcery with my rich history of knowledge from the last, I don't know, like close to 4 years obsessing over this freaking game. And all the nuances therein. All right, so here we go. We got to make sure there's 15 of these bad boys because we got 15 participants. I advertised that. Some people say sometimes, hey, Mike, how did I find out about the breaks? Collector Art House Discord. Sign up for the Discord. There's also a Collector Art House Facebook group that I have. I created that a long time ago. There's about 700 some members in that. You can check it out. Those are the 2 places where I advertise it. I don't want to spam things. Some people already accuse me of spamming the Sorcery Community Facebook group. That's called Passion, guys. It's not a pump and dump group. It's not like a hype. Like I'm trying to like zoom the value of shit. If anything, I'm doing a disservice to myself, you know, because I want all the paintings. I want all the sample. Oh, wait, let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Beautiful. 15 cards. We have an Atlas site card. We only have 1 of those, which is typical. You usually don't get a lot of those. You usually get a few per pack. They're extremely rare. So the uniques are extremely rare. The elites, the exceptionals, even the ordinaries are quite rare. I don't know that there's any that have a pop more than 15. Again, if Eric, you're on cue there. What is the highest pop? I always ask you this question. What is the most we've seen of any one sample card? I want to say maybe it was like 22 or something. I don't know. I want to mix these up pretty well because, I want to get all the hits at once. I'm trying to randomize. And then we shuffled the participants. But all of it's rare, all of it's special. We're looking for quick magic cards. There's mechanics. There's mythics, which is a keyword that did not transcend into alpha. 18, highest ordinary pop. 18 copies of any given ordinary is the highest. Unbelievable. That's wild. That is extremely rare. All right, Mill2 Med is going to kick us off. Right from the top, Mill2 Med, max zoom. Here we go. The Men of Lang. Drew Tucker, Men of Lang. Let's hear it, Eric. What's the pop? So when we were at the Baltimore Spring Social, Drew Tucker did a quick painting of this, the Men of Lang. We did a live auction. Big guy Ron said, hey, Ron, get in the side room, Mike. We're doing a live auction. Come on. Let's go. I was like, live auction? What does that even mean? I don't do live auctions. I got a community group and I got a Discord. So I had to wing it. I had to improv. I was, I was pretending I had the gravel and I was like, let's go. Bidder 1, bidder 2. Let's go. People were bidding. It sold for $500. This painting that Drew did of the Men of Lang, and it looked just like it. Ordinary Mortal Beast, bleating in Discord. No wheel today, guys. No wheel. We don't have time for wheels. We got to pull this off in 15 minutes before Heidi shows up. So if you guys are late to the game, we already shuffled these. I already had them pre-labeled. This is our wheel, our proxy wheel. We don't need a wheel because we randomized here. We randomize here. We sleeve them up. We mix them up. And now we got Gambit 11. Next man up. Gambit 11. Here we go. Oh! The gnomes. I don't know. Dude, Eric, what is the pop on the gnomes? I don't think I've ever pulled the gnomes. I love this. Somehow, Eric decided to include this in the collector tier. Somebody owns this original painting, and I need to find out who that is. If you are that person, please reach out to me because I want to own this painting. I love Vasily. I own like 3 or 4 of his original sketches. I sold some prints for Vasily recently. I had him at the Baltimore Spring Social event, and some people bought them, but amazing artist. He hasn't been revealed for Arthurian Legends yet, so we're all very hopeful that he will be included in Arthurian Legends. But that is a great card. Only the 6th copy of Gnome, says Eric. Thank you, man. 6 copies. So that's an ordinary rarity, right? The most common, because you get 11. You get 11 ordinaries, 3 exceptionals. Now, that's bad math. 10 ordinaries. No, 11 ordinaries, 3 exceptionals, and then 1 elite or unique in each of these sample packs. So even though you're getting 11 per pack times 244 packs plus, some other odds and ends that were given to early creators, only 6 of those have been discovered to our knowledge. That is the 6th. All right, Gambit again off the top. Gambit 11 gets the Atlas site. This is interesting. It's usually a basic land, but if it's not, that is huge. Ooh, the Gothic Tower. So again, Fresh says, how can I do? I want to participate on this. So this is already pre-sold. I advertise it in the Collector Art House Discord and the Collector Art House group. Oh, and the Collector Art House Patreon. Please check out my Patreon, guys. If you enjoy my content and want to support, that's a great way to do so. There's also great perks that pay for itself. I always have the best prices on sealed product within MAP policy. I respect the policies of the company, and I always give back to patrons. I partner with stores. I usually get a healthy allocation. I'm hopeful I'll get a lot of Arthurian Legends and have the best prices on the market as a give back. So Collector Art House Patreon. All right, Mill 2 Med. The Gothic Tower, number 12. All right, so there's 12 of the Gothic Tower. Root Spider, the great Melissa Benson. Fresh off of Gen Con. She was at Gen Con. She was the guest artist at Gen Con. Ordinary Beast with a Trap of Lace. The Root Spider. I remember having a few of these in the very early days. It's been quite a while since I've seen a Melissa Benson. She's such an iconic artist, so that's a great one to own from her. It has burrowing. If this spider is burrowed, minions on that site can't move away. I remember he's such a pesky little bastard. People were like, he would annoy the shit out of people in early gameplay. Root Spider, also number 12. All right, thanks for the facts, Eric. AKK Bro. This guy's a break machine. I see him in all the breaks. By the way, I'll probably do... I need to space these sample pack breaks because they're so hard to get. I need you guys to reach out to me and sell me your sample packs, please. I want to be able to do this for a long time. I can't do them every week anymore. I was doing them every week for a long time, but I can't keep that pace because then we'll run out and it'll be game over. But I am willing to do more alpha breaks. I do have more cases of alpha, and I'm actually going to break into a fresh case for the next break. I did the last box of the last case in the last one, so I'll open that up if you guys want to do a alpha box break. I could probably do that next weekend. All right, AKK Bro. Roaming Monster. So the great Jeff Easley. I actually have a Jeff Easley that's up for auction right now. The Firebolts by Jeff Easley. An iconic, highly meta-relevant card, obviously. Everybody plays with the Firebolts. And look at that amazing artwork by Jeff Easley. This ends tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. It has not hit reserve yet. It's at $425. Frogman Dan is topping the charts with the top bid. $425. And, Jeff is a legendary, iconic artist. His work is extremely valuable. So to get a painting is probably the average person is only going to be able to afford an artist proof because his original paintings are wildly valuable. He's a massive icon. He's been doing it for 50 years. from Dungeons and Dragons. He has tons and tons of paintings from Dungeons and Dragons. That's really where he got big and famous. But it's a beautiful Firebolts artist proof. Ends at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. Not quite at Observe yet. So the roaming monster, an ordinary monster, appears out of nowhere. So they changed this in alpha. It says out of the blue, right? And they said that was not, and this is evidence, right? It says out of nowhere. So they didn't tell him to paint it blue out of the blue. That was just coincidental, right? And then they changed it as part of mirroring or matching the title, the illustration, the type line text, the game mechanic out of the blue. Actually, the out of the blue is the flavor text, excuse me. I thought it was the type line. It's actually here in the flavor text out of the blue. But they said that they didn't tell Jeff to make him coming out of the blue. It was just kind of like a cool coincidence as it turned out. But what did Eric say? That is the 10th copy that's been discovered so far. So all of these are extremely low pop. Yeah, usually the breaks are $400 per slot. Yeah, because these sample packs cost several $1,000s to acquire these packs. They're absurdly rare. All right, Gambit 11. He has 4 in this break. These are the rarest items in Sorcery. Look at these calluses, man. Look, I'm jacked. I'm jacked, baby. Oh man, workers' hands. Gray Wolves. Where's Too Fluent? $1 million for the Wolves. You can just slap any price tag on there. You probably break your label maker trying to slap the price tag on there before Too Fluent scoops that up. Everybody loves the Wolves. What's the pop on them Wolves? So we're hitting a lot of the ordinaries. That's great. We're going to hit the big one towards the bottom. Is the number how many you pulled yourself or at all? That is the number total population that we know to have been discovered. So Eric, who's commenting, this is the number 12th Wolves. Eric, who is commenting, as I mentioned earlier, he has a tracker, a Google Sheets tracking document where he is tracking everything that has been publicly showcased, including all of mine, all the breaks I've done on the channel, all of the YouTube videos that people have shown, people in the Discord marketplaces and stuff selling singles. He reaches out to them. He asks them, did you open a pack? What are the 15 cards that are in your pack? So he's doing his best he can to curate that content and information for us. Silly Draco, baby. I see Silly in the chat. Thanks for being here, man. Here we go, Silly. Ooh, the Petrosian Cavalry. So you're talking about my guy, Andrea Modesti. One of the greats. Ordinary Undead emerged from below. I showcased this, Draco. Yeah, I don't have time because Heidi's going to be coming on soon. But go to the Sorcery Community Facebook group. I did a great post on this because I noticed that Ordinary Undead emerged from below. This type line text is actually found on the Awakened Mummies, the Jeff Easley Mummies, right? Is it called Awakened Mummies? Guys, let me go to the cards, Jeff Easley. If you look at, I said I don't have time, but F it. I'm going to have to be efficient later. Efficiency another day. Look at the Awakened Mummies. Exceptional Undead aroused from rest. Right? Or roused from rest. Aroused. Dan's losing his mind right now. All right, so they changed it in the alpha version, but there is in the early days, there was a sample card with the mummies that says Ordinary Undead emerged from below. So it was transposed. A lot of these, like they had some juxtaposition or mix-up with the digital files, and that's what happened with the Petrosian Cavalry. So this is a bit of an anomaly, and also you see it's a fire card, right? I don't think the Cavalry is a fire card in alpha, is it, guys? Is it? Or is it not? I think it's an earth card. It makes more sense, right? Oh, no, I'm wrong on that. It actually has charge. All right. So I'm a dummy. It is a fire card. There's some changes to the casting cost and whatnot. But that type line text has a unique and interesting historical element to it. So that is a nice one to pull. That's pretty cool. And it's the 15th copy. All right. So Eric says, I have ordinary pulls from around 104 packs. Wow. So almost half of, and it's not all from Kickstarter. I know he's tracked down others. This is for Savage Knuckler. Ooh, the beautiful, it's our first exceptional here. The Mariner's Curse by Elvira Polakowska. I'll do a recap of all the cards. The cheapest he's ever charged is $200. Did I charge $295 a slot? That's a mistake. That was too cheap. But it was a different era back then, back in the day. But that was before the price to acquire packs crossed the $3,000 and $3,500 range. Yep, that's exactly right, man. They're so hard to get now. They're not only scarce, people don't want to sell them, and they want a fortune for them. So reach out if you want to make some money, guys. I'll buy them from you. Ghost Pants. Ooh, the Dwarven Digging Team. Dude, that's an exceptional mythics. Like I was telling you, right? They don't have mythics anymore in Sorcery. So that is a great nuance. The early development history of these sample cards. Mariner's Curse. Only 4 of those? Oh my god. That is the 4th Mariner's Curse that we know yet to be discovered. I have several artist proofs of these too, if you guys want an artist proof, directly from Elvira Palakowska. The number 4 also for the Dwarven Digging Team. I don't think I've ever pulled it myself that I can recall. So these exceptionals are insanely rare. Hi Taz, up next. Here we go. Ooh, the Wicker Mannequin. So Drew talked about the art concept for this. He used to play in his backwoods by his house as a kid and hang the mannequin, swat at it. So it's a really cool story. I think he talked about it on my channel before, and he tells people the story at shows and stuff. Ask him about the Wicker Mannequin. He'll tell you. But look at this, guys. Really interesting. 0 to cast, 0 toughness, an exceptional relic monster of eternal hunger. A lot of interesting change on these sample cards. Let me go to the Drew Tucker page. So, an exceptional relic monster. That's wild. The Wicker Mannequin is an ordinary sprig of an automation. So it's 1 to cast and 1 power now, and it's not a relic. It's an exceptional relic monster. That's interesting. That changed tremendously from what it is. Yeah, the exceptionals. Wicker Mannequin, the number 3 ever discovered. I don't know. Some people think 400 per slot's a lot, but like... There's 3 of these in the world, to our knowledge. 3. That is more rare than some of the uniques we found. I think there are actually maybe the most common unique we found. I think is, I want to say it's 4 copies, right? 3. Unbelievable. All right. Traverse Townie. Can you see it? Traverse Townie. Unbelievable. Oh! The Immortal Throne. Oh my god. What a monster. Elvira Shakarova. A unique relic and monument to eternal dominion. The occupant of this throne is immortal. The throne can't be picked up. The light that rises against the odds, the true successor of the elder gods. What an absolute monster hit. The Immortal Throne. Oh my god. Wow. The artist proofs of these have been phenomenally valuable. The original painting I've sold for Elvira. She's one of the first artists I ended up working with. Oh my god, what an absolute monster. The second one ever discovered, to our knowledge. Number 2, the Immortal Throne. Traverse Townie. This is his first break. He only got 1 slot in the pack, and the guy hits the Immortal Throne. What a legend. Oh my god. Oh my god, I cannot believe it. What a historic... absolute masterpiece. How do we top that, guys? I don't know. User 17, man. It sucks when you're like right before or right after the big monster hit. Here we go. Sandworm. Vincent Pompetti. I know I pulled a few of these. An ordinary beast. Senses vibration here. Burrowing and firebound. Pompetti. The most commissioned artist in Alpha. Mr. Vincent Pompetti. Hits... only the second ever discovered Immortal Throne. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Taking home the prize, baby. Ghost Pants is up again. Cloud Spirit. The beautiful Paradoila effect by our man, Mikhail Nagypal. There he is. All right, guys. We only got a few left to go, and then Heidi's going to pop in here. Right on schedule. It's almost 1 o'clock. 2-minute warning on the sample break. And then I got to go to AirPods. All right, Gambit 11. And then we meet Heidi. Here we go. The Swamp Buffalo. Jussie Pelkis. We just had a Jussie reveal on Drew's channel. On the play. On the play. He's the coordinator of March of the Mortals. And then the last one from the pack is going to be Savage Knuckler. And, the Raldrome Dairy. One of the most popular cards from Kyle Calazans. An ordinary and superbly indifferent beast. How many dromedaries do we have, Eric? This is Eric's favorite card. It's his most prominently framed card that he painting that he owns personally. So what a pack! Amazing. The Immortal Throne was the big hit, but we had a lot of great Grails of history here. The Mortal Throne being the big one. Oh, only number 6 of the Ral Dromedary. All right, guys. So I need to get my AirPods ready. We'll come back to the break results in a minute. Let me make sure my audio is working here through the computer. And we have about 40 people on. Stick around because we're going to have Heidi on in a minute. And you guys can ask some questions. So we introduce her. Let me just test. Let me play a random video. Make sure my audio's working. All right, we're good. We're good on the audio. And let me take this down. Remove that. Hey, Heidi, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been a long time coming.
I know.
And
It's
you've
been a
been,
couple years.
I know. You know what? I always do my research too on like how I try to figure out how Eric discovered the artist. So that was a question that I was going to ask you. And before you answer that question, I wanted to show you a piece of history here that I discovered. I got to share my screen to show you. But I went back. I was telling, I've been going for like an hour here for a while, been talking with people that have been following along. And I was talking about how in the early days, Eric was very active in a Discord group that he set up for the game.
Okay.
And I went back and looked at the old dialogue because I remembered that one of the fans had recommended you for the project in the Discord.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I went back. Yeah, so maybe you already knew this, but I wanted to give credit to this guy. The guy's name is Ovaro, and it's cut off in that one. Let me go back one. So all the way back to it was January 26, 2022, and he says, Eric, not sure if you're looking for artists for future sets, but he said he found your site. Basically, he was really impressed with your work. And then Eric responded here. It's kind of funny. He responded right away. And he was, like I say, he was very active early on before he got busy with the project. But he said, great find. I sent an email to her to see if she can take on some sorcery work. This type of traditional surreal style fits really well.
Oh,
So there you
wow.
have it.
So I'm not sure if that was him because somebody purchased a painting of mine, and I think he lived in Germany. And
Oh,
he's the one that told me about the project, and he suggested that I reach out to Eric. So I'm not sure
okay.
how all of this happened. Like maybe somebody recommended me, or maybe I think Eric knew about me, and then I approached Eric because another fan suggested that I do that.
Gotcha.
So I'm
Yeah.
not sure like what the exact origin of this was. It was just a while ago. Like a couple
Yeah.
years ago,
Right. Yeah. It's
and
been several
lots
years.
happened since then. So I kind of forget.
Yeah, it's so exciting because, like, I know you were so, like, from what I understand, he allowed you to show little snippets of some of your artwork. Is that right on your social media? A couple
I
years
did,
back.
yeah. I think I showed a couple thumbnails, like little teasers, but not
Yep.
too many because at that point I was like, "Hey, I'm not supposed to show anything," and then I just
Yeah.
decided I'm not going to show anything.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Anyway,
like, a lot of us, like myself, I've always been super into the art aspect of the project. So, when we see things like that, we start making connections and we're like, wow, this is probably a new artist for sorcery. So, it generated
okay,
a lot of buzz. And Eric actually announced that you were commissioning for the project all the way back in July 2022. So, we've known for a
okay.
while, but we only saw your first card a few days ago
Oh,
on
I
one of the.
see. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't realize that he told people that I was one of the artists. I mean, I know like
Yeah.
some people had approached me, and I was like, they said, "Are you one of the artists? Is it true?" And I said, "Yes."
Yep.
And anyway, yeah,
That's why.
that's
Yeah.
great.
So that's really great. And I know you've had a, very extensive career. You have a special celebration coming up of your art career. Do you want to mention what
Yeah,
that
so
is?
I have a 50-year retrospective coming up on September 19th at a gallery in Montreal, Quebec called Jeannot Gallery.
Okay.
And it's work that I've done for the last 50 years. And I'm 53, so it's going to show work that I did when I was 3 years old and up.
Oh wow.
So like there's a little bit of it that's gonna be a little it's kind of humoristic. It's a bit of a like tongue in cheek sort of joke. But at the same
Yeah.
time it really is relevant to my career because I started off pretty early. Like I developed my signature style when I was about 16 years old and then
Oh wow.
works that I did from then on are kind of a bit more typical of what I do. Although back in the day I was painting mostly robots, like watercolor robots with a white
Hmm.
background And then
Hmm.
it shows how they got more complex and how they just kind of developed into something a little bit more surrealist and symbolist rather than just science fiction, like sci-fi looking.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect then, because you already told us a little bit about your background. So you've been into art your entire life, literally, since you were three
Yeah,
years old. So you've
yeah.
always envisioned this as your career path and something
Not
you
at
wanted to do?
all. My
No?
mom actually is an artist, and when I was first able to hold a pencil, so I was drawing before the age of 3. I just don't have
Wow.
those drawings available anymore. I don't know what happened to them,
Oh,
but she kept all my work, and she's the one that really encouraged me to get into art in the first. Well, she's the one who encouraged me as a child to pursue art. Like most children do it naturally anyway, but I was lucky
sure.
enough that my mom was an artist, so she really went
Yeah.
like as far as she could to getting me and my brother to do little art projects and stuff. And
That's great.
it's only when I was in my early 20s, I think I was 21, and I was in the Yukon, in
Mm.
Dawson City, Yukon, and I was a waitress for a couple of weeks. And I had a really hard time with the head waitress there, who was about 15 years older than me. And she just really
Uh,
didn't like me, so she gave me the hardest time in the world. And then I left. I just went into the Mackenzie Mountains and went hiking and did a lot of thinking. And then I decided I can't work for anybody else because there's too much
yeah.
politics and
Mm.
jealousy or whatever it is that drives people to act in certain ways. And then
Sure.
that's what made me decide to become an artist. But like I had already
Okay.
had this history of taking art lessons growing up and having my mother as an artist.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
I
great.
never thought I would go into art. It just didn't seem like a viable career path.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did is at 21 or 22, I started exhibiting in a little local art association that my mom was part of also. And
Mm-hmm.
during one of those exhibits, I was exhibiting my watercolor robots alongside like flower paintings and landscape paintings. So I kind of stood out like a sore thumb. And somebody
Mm.
came up to me and said that technically I was very good, and that I should go into commercial illustration and that I could make a lot of
Mm.
money doing that. And then I thought,
Mm-hmm.
well, here's a way of making a living then. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't make like a ton of money because at that point the industry was kind of tailing off, and
Okay.
but I did do it for about 10 years.
Okay.
And then I ended up working with the Cirque du Soleil, and like I ended up
Mm.
painting a few art cars for Infinity Taiwan and
Yep.
Infinity
I
Canada.
remember from our interview. So this was like in
Yeah,
the 90s or so you're referring to?
that was in the Cirque du Soleil was the 99, and then the
Okay.
art cars were like 10 years later.
Okay.
10 and 11 years later. And then I did all kinds of
Mm.
projects in between for company, like, I did something for, what was it? The NFL, National Football League. But they used my concept and they got another artist to do the color version of my concept, like little things like that. And then
Yeah.
bigger things too, like, for yogurt companies like Dan and Yogurt doing their yogurt labels, and
Okay.
working for the Montreal Insectarium, and like a whole ton of different, like 10 years of basically client
Gotcha.
work
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, every there's like a broad range of artists in sorcery, and real like a lot of stylistic diversity, but even a lot of different like career paths. A lot are self-taught, some are formally trained, and some
yeah.
are from TCG. Some have never done a TCG at all. Is this your first like card game type
It's my
project?
first card game. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's
it's
pretty different.
exciting. Like it's very interesting to see that there's a fan base, and then all the momentum that it builds.
Yep.
It's not something you usually see in illustration, because usually you're working with an art director and then you do your art piece and you give it to them and then they just say thank you very much and see you
Hmm.
later. Except with the Cirque du Soleil, that was a little bit more ongoing. But usually it
Okay.
was just sort of something that was kind of more cut and dry, and then you would get waved off, and then
Hmm.
like all the magic would happen behind your back, behind
Uh
the
huh.
scenes, and then they would come up with this big ad. You might
Yep.
see it like on a billboard or a bus or something,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
that's
But
the commercial aspects, like the commercial industry of art is pretty interesting. There's another artist, Asi Haikala, who does a lot of like commercial type art. So it's interesting. Like, Eric
okay,
took some people from that genre, others from heavy metal covers, and
Okay.
other TCGs, and so I don't know how much you know about the TCG. Are you like a gamer on any level, or are you
Not
not really into
really.
that scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's like this game Magic the Gathering that was huge in the 90s that really paved the way for fantasy art for cards. So it's now like a
Okay.
really big industry. And, as you know, like in modern times now, a lot of people are going to digital, especially in the card gaming industry. They do digital commissioning because it's quick and easy to make changes. So
Yeah.
Sorcery is really different in that it's all hand painted traditional, and Eric's really committed to that. So
I think
a
it's
lot of people,
excellent.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people are excited about that. So, and
Yeah.
your style is great. Like, how did you? Are there any things you had to do to adapt your style for the game use case, or did you
Well,
have a
at
lot of
first
freedom?
I wasn't sure what Eric wanted. Like, I think the very first image I did was not, it was like, I mean, you could consider it like it was my style, where in that it would be an element that you would find in a painting of mine. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
was kind of, I can't really talk about it because it hasn't been revealed yet.
Okay.
But like, well, anyway, I can say that much about it at least. But then for the other, like, I started off just being a little bit more straightforward, like doing kind of straightforward illustration. And then he
Mm.
finally said, look, get your own style in there, and like,
Yeah. Great.
really show people what you do and stuff.
Mm.
So I thought, okay, like, this is great. And then I'm gonna start showcasing my own personal style of art in these illustrations
Oh.
that I'm doing.
Great. So we saw your Sir Tristan. Unfortunately, like, it's early. We'll have to talk again once they're all revealed after October
Yeah.
4th. But and we'll see you in Vegas. So by then
Yeah.
you'll be able to show all your stuff.
There you go.
Um, so you're saying like you started with like trying to do a specific concept for the game, but then you had a little more freedom to kind of fall back on
Yeah, I
the
had
way
a
you
bit more
traditionally paint.
freedom, like,
Yeah.
and then it was very nice to hear that, because often, one big problem I had when I was a commercial illustrator is nobody knew what to do with my style,
Mm.
except like the Cirque du Soleil knew, because they were like, "This is great,"
Yeah.
it's super weird and fantastical and everything. So this was really nice to have an opportunity to apply the work to something, other than a painting, because it's
Hmm.
considered applied arts. Like, you could say commercial art or applied arts, I guess, like, is another
Okay.
way of saying it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was just really nice that I had the freedom to do that. It's a little bit like editorial illustration. In editorial illustration, like book covers and magazine covers and stuff, you have a lot more freedom to do what you want and to have to express yourself, like using your own personal voice.
Okay.
And you don't have like an art director sort of looming over your shoulder telling you, do this, do that, change this, or whatever.
Hmm.
So it was very nice. Like, I was really free to do whatever I wanted to do, and Eric wasn't micromanaging it. Like, he wasn't,
Hmm.
playing art director or anything.
Yeah.
It's just the closest thing he came to doing that was to say, be yourself. Like, be as much
Great.
yourself as you want to be. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's important. That's why the game's so great. Like the art project aspect of the game. I call it the game, but it's like, to me it's like a real special art project because it's like a renaissance of art and a throwback to the
yeah,
original hand painted. And he took that approach with all the artists, so their own styles really shine through.
that's
And so
really
like
good.
I noticed in yours, like you do. So you mentioned like you started with the robot art, and you have like these technological or like gear elements in a lot of your pieces that I've noticed. Is that how you kind of work that into your? That's something that's followed you through your career, or
Oh
are you
yeah, it's
interested in
followed me
technology?
through.
Like, what is it with robots that?
So I started with a frog. It was a robotic frog.
Okay.
That when I was 16 years old. And then I was really into sci-fi movies, and the biggest movie that impacted me
Mm.
was Terminator. And I was like, look at the
Yeah.
skeleton. And I was really good in biology. I had like a 99 average in biology in high school.
Okay.
So I just sort of combined this interest in biology, along with my technical skills in art. And then I started painting more robots, because they were, you can, and like, what I would do is I would design the robot to match sort of the anatomy of the animal, of the person that I was depicting.
Okay.
And this is how it all started. So I would paint like a robotic bunny, or like a robot, like I said, a frog. I did a gorilla at some point, made out of elements and objects that I found throughout
Mm.
the class that I was taking. Because I took 10 years of art classes, for
Okay.
kids, from
Wow.
the age of 8 years old to 18 years old. And that kind of really sort of kept my art activities going more fully. And then that's what allowed me to develop my style. Because like the art teacher, she would give us projects to do, and I just kept painting robots. And she didn't stop
Yeah.
me. She just said, "Go ahead and keep painting." Her name is Renata Heidersdorf. There's a lot of people locally that know her. She's like a household name.
Okay. Are
Yeah,
you
where I
from
live.
Montreal, you mentioned, or
Yeah, I'm
Quebec?
from Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So the someone was asking like the in the Sir Tristan piece, like it's I think you said you had mentioned in your Chase wrote up an article that the company revealed, and it talked about how you did it like after a family member, but like the
Yeah.
headgear stuff that was like around the head figure, what kind of inspired that?
Well, it was because I was trying to figure out, I didn't want to paint a robot that would just sort of look too much like, I don't know, like a robot, like an aggressive warrior type. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I wanted, or just something that was too unnatural or too like inhuman. Sorry.
Hmm.
So, in the past, I had done a painting of Mercury one time because I like Greek mythology and I incorporate that into
Mm.
my work often. And so this was just a nude figure, like a male nude figure. And
Mm.
I just decided to focus on the headdress. And I thought I'm going to take all this like technology and all these um, mechanical components, and I'm going to sort of make an exoskeleton out of it instead of making the
Mm.
body made up of all of these things instead. And
Gotcha.
that way the character can kind of retain its humanity and then
Hmm.
still have this kind of biomechanical looking, or not like, yeah, like I guess biomechanical kind of looking thing
Hmm.
happening. So that's kind of what I
Yeah.
was doing with Tristan, Sir
Okay.
Tristan.
Yeah, it's great because
Yeah.
that's how you incorporate your style and still preserve because it's kind of like specifically thematic, right, for Arthurian lore.
Yeah.
Um, when you heard of so like when you first started commissioning for the project, did you know that it was specifically for Arthurian Legends? And you started, I mean,
No.
obviously, oh, no, you didn't?
I had no
Well, what,
idea.
so for Sir Tristan, though, did you know that that would even be Sir Tristan or did that title come later? I'm wondering.
I knew that it would be Sir Tristan. Like I had the
Okay.
titles, I guess, of the characters, but
Hmm.
I didn't really know what it all meant, like in the context of the game. So I
Okay.
knew Sir Tristan is, Arthurian, I guess you could say, but
Yeah.
I had no idea that this was like, a particular series that he was going to release. Like
Hmm.
I got very little information, which is probably, I don't know if it's for the best. I think it was for the best, but he just
Hmm.
kind of was very straightforward. He's very easy to work with. Like he just sort of
Yeah.
gave me like a drop down list of concepts that I needed to do, like images that I needed to paint, and then he's like, "Go for it,"
Yeah,
So
that's interesting. The reason why I ask is because we that's a question that Eric's been asked a lot of times, and we've seen like I was just opening a sample pack, which was like one these early like test production cards that came before the first set came out. So there was a lot
okay,
of development change, and a lot of the card titles ended up being different in alpha. So sometimes he would get an
uh,
illustration back from the artist, and it seems like he would tailor it to fit like the way the card's supposed to work in the game. So there
uh,
is some give and take between the design team and the artists. So that's pretty interesting. A bunch of
okay.
people are asking in the chat here. A few people asked, "What artists inspired your work or your style?" Are
Oh
there certain
wow.
artists?
Yeah, definitely. So my youngest first inspiration that I can remember was probably Hijami Soriyama. So he's a
Okay.
Japanese illustrator who did like chrome robots, airbrushed robots of women mostly. Now he's still doing work. I think he does work that's a little bit different than what I had seen growing up, which is natural because artists do evolve. And
Hmm.
then there was Salvador Dali. So these are
Okay.
like from books that my mom had lying around. And
Yeah.
then I would look at these, and she had a book on airbrushing, I remember. And it was Hijami Soriyama that was the one that really jumped out as the airbrush artist, I remember.
Did
Um,
did you do airbrushing on the car, like the Infinity project that you
oh,
mentioned? Was
yeah.
that airbrush? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I
So I did a
figured.
lot
Yeah.
of
So you
airbrush.
learned that skill too. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like a lot of my paintings were airbrushed in the 90s. So I would
Okay.
do these really super detailed, intricate looking robots and I don't know, illustrations and paintings, and I would use airbrushing. And I
Yeah.
remember I showed my work at the McAllen International Museum of Art and Science back in 1997. and there was
Hmm.
a discussion panel when I was there, and they were kind of, some people were giving me a really hard time to tell me, like trying to tell me that illustration is not art, and I was defending it, saying, yes, it is art, and
Yeah.
then we had this big debate on like whether or not it was really art, and whether airbrushing was like a legitimate medium that you could use in art and
Really.
stuff. So yeah.
That's strange. I
Anyway,
mean, there's like, I think it would be hard to argue that most things are not art, like some form of artistic expression in some way.
yeah.
So to challenge
And
something that seems like it clearly is ironic.
yeah,
But
so I don't know. It was like an art history purist or something, I guess,
okay,
that I was up against.
that's
And, and
funny.
I'm sort of like, aside from the art lessons that I took growing up, I am self-taught, so I didn't study art academically.
Hmm.
So it was hard to, I mean, all I could do is, talk about my own experience, my own frame of reference, and then
Yep,
just stand up and defend it as much as I could. Anyway,
that's funny. Yeah, there's a few
yeah.
artists in sorcery that are really like masters of airbrush technique, like Ed Bear Jr.
Okay.
And Rodney Matthews. You might know he's a pretty legendary artist. So
Okay.
it just looks so impressive because it's so like clean looking. When you paint
Yeah.
with that, it really enhances it. I think it's tremendous.
Yeah. It
So
does enhance it. And it's too bad, like a lot of computer illustration or like computer work came along and took
hmm
away what the airbrush artists were able to achieve.
hmm
And then I'm just thinking of the industry in illustration, and when it dried up, a lot of it was because of that. And I guess that's what happens with the evolution of technology. You see it with AI now,
yeah.
and the threat that AI poses.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, for sure. Did you ever get into digital art at all, or have you always been purely
well, I
traditional?
do work with Photoshop, and I was trained in
Okay.
Photoshop when I was around 23, 24 years old, because I worked on a Molson Dry, or like Molson Dry commercial, a
Oh,
beer commercial.
yep.
And they trained me on like one of the early versions of Photoshop. So I was supposed to
Hmm.
because I showed them some photorealism illustration that I had done with airbrushing. And then they said, oh, she'd be perfect for this job. So I had to transform a Jamaican beach with beach umbrellas into a pristine beach scene out of, I think, Indonesia or Thailand or someplace like that,
Hmm.
with like volcanic mountains in the back and minus all the beach umbrellas,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Anyway, and then
Wow,
I
sounds
just
beautiful.
continued using Photoshop in my work to mostly to do a mock-up. So I do
Hmm.
mock-ups, and then I prepare the preliminary of my painting using Photoshop, and then or I could go to a let me see, like I could have like, because I have to print it out on paper, and then I print it out on 8 by 10 size papers. Like I do an enlargement in Photoshop, and then I print it out
Hmm.
like a puzzle in 8 by 10 size pieces, and then I tape them all together, and then I can make a painting transfer, which is actually a very old technique from the Renaissance.
Hmm.
So I'm using like modern technology and Renaissance techniques all at the same time.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's awesome. Well, we're really excited for you to be finally announced as part of the project. So it sounds like you've done several pieces. I think there was like maybe 4 or 5 little snips, so we have an idea of some of the concepts. But it's
Okay.
by the time you come to Vegas, it'll all be out there. The game's supposed to
Yeah.
release on October 4th. There's a big event in Germany that's happening that the
Okay.
company's going to. Some of the company employees will be in Vegas. We're hoping Eric will come. It's
Okay.
unconfirmed so far, but maybe you'll get a chance to meet him finally.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, so it'll be a whole new world, like the TCG type fans. There's a lot of gamers, but in Sorcery, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that are art enthusiasts, or they're like kind of transforming into like having a real appreciation for the art. So a lot
Yeah.
of people
Very
will be
good.
excited to see you. You could sign cards, bring. Do you plan on bringing prints or any like originals or anything like that? I know it's hard to travel because you got to fly in internationally,
Yeah.
but some
Maybe
prints are a great
prints?
idea. Yeah,
Yeah. Prints are a good idea.
there's a good market for prints. People will definitely come to your table to chat with you and get cards signed. You charge for
Okay.
signatures. So yeah, it'll
Okay.
be a great
Great.
time. We'll hang out and have a lot of
Yeah.
fun. I was so happy. Like I told you, like I was so impressed. Within an hour, you're like, "Yep, I'm coming to Vegas."
Yeah.
I was like really impressed. You were able to make a decision that
I
quickly,
know,
and that you
right?
were that excited about it.
Yeah.
So that's a real
Yeah.
treat for all of us.
Yeah.
Is
I
there anything
appreciate
else
it.
you wanted to share with the fans?
Well, just that I really appreciate their appreciation of my work.
Yeah.
Like I really do because I work in a bubble. Like I'm alone right now. I'm in my studio space, and this
Okay.
is about what I. Well, you can't see anything, I guess, because I'm on my phone. So there's like
Mm-hmm.
different.
I see your
Anyway,
easels.
whatever, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Cool.
Yeah, but like I don't hear a lot, so it's pretty silent other than the music that
Mm.
I have going on. So to get feedback from people is just really high, like very much appreciated,
Yeah.
and
There.
yeah, just makes
You'll
me
s-
feel really good.
you'll see at the event we're expecting at least a few hundred people, so it'll be a good vibrant atmosphere for 3 days, and we'll try to
Okay,
think of some fun things we could do. We could do a little mini interviews like this and stuff too. But
sure.
yeah, people are like super excited about the artist, so you're in for like a wild ride on this one. You'll definitely get positive feedback. You're gonna be like a celebrity.
Oh, very nice.
So
Okay.
it'll be great. Yeah, and I really appreciate you coming on today. It was a lot of fun. The reveal was really exciting. The reception was great to Sir
Okay.
Tristan, and people are really excited to see more. So we can't wait.
Okay. Great.
So
I'm happy to hear that.
yep. All right. Thanks. We'll see you in a few months then. I really appreciate
Okay.
it.
Sounds good.
All right. Take
Okay.
care.
Take care.
Yeah. All right, guys. That was cool. Our first introduction to Heidi. She seems awesome. That was the first time that I've talked to her in person or like over video, not quite in person, but yeah. So like when Eric revealed her, like we were saying in the interview, they introduced her in July 2022 because there were these snippets coming out on her social media, and you should go follow Heidi on Instagram. And I know she's on Instagram. I forget if she has a Facebook page or not. She seems like she's not on Facebook quite as much. Definitely Instagram, though. She's always posting on there. She has like a beautiful variety of work. Her style is just incredible. And if you go to HeidiTaillefer.com, you could find a vast array of all her work. I'm going to pull back up the my screen here. And if you go to collectorarthouse.com, definitely go to the interviews and articles page. So when those snippets came out, the what happened was I reached out to her immediately. Like I told you, I created this page, guys, because I wanted to connect with the artists. I wanted to know their story, and I wanted to share that with the fan base of Sorcery. All the fans that are like-minded like myself and are really enthused and excited about the art and want to meet the artists as people, in addition to their artworks. How do they come up with these concepts? Where does the storytelling come from? Like all those fun things that make us love art, right? So I did an interview with Eric and like so many artists. If you go to this interviews and articles page, collectorarthouse.com, and I did this interview with Heidi, you see, on July 26, 2022. So right after it was announced, I reached out to her and I was like, wow, this is great that you were introduced to Sorcery. Alvaro, again, in the Discord, this guy in Germany discovered Heidi, was really impressed with their website and recommended her to Eric. Eric was impressed. It sounds like, as Heidi just told us, a fan encouraged her to reach out to Eric, and she did, and they connected, and here we are. She's done several pieces for Sorcery, and we've seen the first so far. But there's this great interview. You see like her great variety of artwork. This one really reminded me of the Sir Tristan concept, as she was just talking about. She wanted to preserve the human form of Sir Tristan, but also introduce that kind of technological, mechanical, robotic aspect of it. So she did that with the headgear on Sir Tristan. Here's the Infinity Car airbrush piece that she was talking about. You see how incredible her style is, so vibrant. Airbrushing just looks so polished and amazing. Look at all the mechanical aspects of it. Just like the great Severin Pinyu, a lot of these artists with the biomechanical influence. Dan's talking about the Keith era mechanism, super iconic time stop, hopefully coming up in the future. So it's really great. We have that aspect and that influence both from Severin and from Heidi for this game. But yeah, this is a great interview. Look how detailed and beautiful these pieces are. I'm really excited to hear her say the big revelation, the big takeaway that I take from the interview we just did with her is that her style, even for Sorcery, had an evolution to it, right? So first she did stuff like the way she thought maybe Eric wanted it, the way maybe she thought it should be for a card game, being her first card game. But then she expanded that and broadened that into her own style. And Eric said, like, hey, be true to your own style. So maybe we'll see artwork like this, like shown, right? These really intricate, interesting biomechanical pieces. And here are the spoilers, right, that we saw. So maybe like these first couple of characters were more humanoid. These are the ones we believe to be for sorcery. So you have these two. We have the Sir Tristan that has been fully revealed, and then these three others, which we don't quite know yet how those will be used. But perhaps this shows the evolution where her style expanded for the game, or her approach expanded for the game. But yet to be seen. Super exciting. Great to meet her. Let's go back to the overhead cam, guys. So let me pull this one down, and then we'll do one of these before we wrap things up. That is the key theory behind us. All right, so recapping on the sample break, we got it in just in time. She showed up backstage 2 minutes prior to 1 o'clock. We agreed on 1 o'clock. So again, thank you to her. It's a real treat talking to her, and for all of us to get to meet her. But we got the sample break done in record time. It was a brilliant call not going to the wheel and just doing the old school shuffle. But the big monster hit was the Immortal Throne. The Dromedary is no schlub in and of itself. An ordinary and superbly indifferent beast that's not so indifferent because he's superbly indifferent. And he's not so ordinary either. He's an icon. Some people call him Daryl. The Swamp Buffalo, the Cloud Spirit by Mikhail, the Sandworm, the Wicker Mannequin, the Dwarven Digging Team. 4 of these in the world? Unbelievable. 3 or 4. Same for the Mariner's Curse. The exceptionals are so incredibly rare. The Grey Wolves is super popular. Everybody loves playing with that card. Jeff Easley shows up. Melissa Benson. Mikhail Nagy-Paul. The Towers. This is the 12th tower that's been discovered. Beyond my stuff. More broadly. Number 12. The Gnomes. I think, what did he say? Were there 4 gnomes? Or 6? Eric mentioned it in chat earlier. And the Men of Lang. What a pack, man. The Immortal Throne. Unbelievable. I actually sold this painting 2 times. Initially, I sold it for Elvira directly, and then it was resold. Imagine giving it up. I can't imagine it. I can't sell any of my paintings. I just can't do it. But, unbelievable, the Immortal Throne. What a hit. A unique relic. Only the second copy ever discovered. And it's going to Traverse Towney. So he's going to get hit up hardcore on the Discords. But what a massive, iconic piece. Beautiful. This was a 5-figure sale, the painting, recently when I auctioned this one a few months back. And next week, guys, we're going to have this beautiful masterpiece by one of the greats of fantasy art. It's been around for 4 or 5 decades. I don't know, man. I don't know. She's been around so long. TSR days. The great Liz Danforth from 2021. The Sleeping Giant, Sleeping Giantess, as it came to be known. What a beautiful, elegant piece. It's on like, I'll have to get the, oh, this is interesting. So it says, oh, okay, that's just the material of the board. I thought that was maybe like a Strathmore wet media. I thought maybe that was like a signature stamp she put on or something. But Liz Danforth, guys, check out Liz Danforth's Patreon. She's going to be writing up an article probably the latter part of this week as we lead up into the auction. Next Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, the Sorcery Contested Realm Community Facebook group and Collector Art House Discord. Please join those forums. The Linktree link in the show notes here for this thing. And the Spear of Destiny by the Prodigy Atlas Thorn goes up tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern with his sketch concept that somehow, some way, some miracle started as this very simple, beautiful, detailed sketch into this absolutely amazing, elegant, gorgeous masterpiece. The goddess with the Holy Spear. The Spear of Destiny. Man, I'm obsessed with Atlas, guys. Andrea Modesti and Atlas Thorn. 2 of the greats. And then up right now is the Jeff Easley Firebolts. So the Sorcery Community Group and the Collector Art House Discord is how you can bid on those and so many other unique, precious pieces of sorcery art history. This is the Humble Village by Modesti. I showed this. Was I live Friday night? What day is it today? Sunday? I'm all over the place. It's a wild ride, guys. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for being here today. Hour and a half. Shortest stream we've ever had. Atlas Thorn, Jeff Easley. Two of the legends. Look how great these guys are. That's what it's all about, baby. Original, hand-painted art. The best in the world. Sorcery, Contested Realm artists, and alterists. The best. Thank you guys for another sample break. I'll do maybe, let me know if there's interest in an alpha box break in the Discord, or DM me or something. We might get into another box of alpha. New case, potentially next weekend. It's a great way to engage, showcase some art, talk about the game history, maybe meet some artists. We had Kyle Calazans on last week. We had Heidi Taillefer on this week. Who knows what'll be coming in the future. There'll be more artists, more interviews, more cameos, more appearances. SorceryCon Las Vegas 2024, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. 8 artists so far confirmed. Heidi Taillefer will be there. 7 other sorcery artists. Dustin Brossard, the great altarist. We'll see a card from Dustin coming up this week. And more sorcery artists to come. It's going to be a massive event. Huge. Huge. So fun to engage with the artists. And great to see all of you. It'll be great to meet in person. Really looking forward to it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll talk to you soon, guys. Take care.